Ever feel frustrated, agitated, irritated, discombobulated? I sure do. If I could see you, I bet many of you would be nodding your heads in agreement. You have similar feelings. I read a story about Sally and Dave. They had been dating for 2 years. Sally was ready to move on in the next stage of their relationship. She was ready to be engaged. She kept hoping Dave would pop the question. One afternoon, Dave called Sally and asked if she could go for a ride that evening. He explained that he had something very important on his mind. He went on to say something monumental, very big, was about to happen. And he wanted Sally to share that special moment. Dave arrived at Sally's house at the agreed upon time. Dave was driving the same car he had had since he was 16. Dave loved that vehicle, even though it was out of date, almost an antique. Dave and his father, a mechanic, kept that vehicle in perfect operating order. Sally and Dave began to go for a drive. Dave seemed to be preoccupied. He seemed to be thinking about something else. Sally was convinced that Dave was trying to figure out exactly how to ask her that very important question. They were approaching the major shopping district of their city. Sally was absolutely positive Dave was going to take her to a jewelry store to help pick out her engagement ring. They drove through the shopping district, went right on by the jewelry store. Sally was confused. As they drove a little farther, Dave said to Sally, "It is about to happen. Something very important is going to happen in the next few moments." Sally looked all around, expecting to see some special spot where they could stop for Dave to ask her that all-important question. Almost breathless, Dave suddenly declared, "Okay, it just happened. My car passed the 100,000 mileage marker. The odometer is now back to 0. Sally was frustrated, irritated, agitated, discombobulated. That was a special event, she thought to herself. Dave had declared the odometer to be back to 0. And Sally thought, yep, that's just like our relationship. It's back to 0. Now, I'm not sure if Sally and Dave eventually got beyond that 0 setting in their relationship. I hope their love was strong enough to help them get through that particular situation. Do you think Jesus ever experienced frustration? There's one story told in one of the Gospels that Jesus was hungry one day, and he saw a fig tree and went over to it, hoping to find some figs to eat. The fig tree was barren. And being upset and frustrated, Jesus cursed the fig tree, and it died. Jesus also got frustrated with the Pharisees, actually called them snakes and hypocrites. He also got frustrated and exasperated with the Jews because they would get so upset about him healing on the Sabbath day, when Jesus was only concerned about people and helping them, Sabbath day or not. Matthew chapter 12, we have the story. Going on from that place, Jesus went into their synagogue. A man with a shriveled hand was there. Looking for a reason to bring charges against Jesus, they asked Jesus, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" Jesus said to them, "If any of you has a sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of that sheep and lift it out?" And the answer is sure, they would save their sheep on the Sabbath day. So Jesus heals this man's hand on the Sabbath day. So what's the solution to our frustration? What's the antidote? The reality of this is all of us we'll get frustrated occasionally. It's normal. It's part of life. In the process, you and I need to learn to accept the frustration and to understand why it is that we are frustrated, and then decide to move on. We also try to find the good that is always available to us, always present with us. Hope is a constant in your life, in my life. Even though Jesus experienced frustration, he never let frustration have the final word. Jesus continued to heal, to save, and to serve God's people. You and I should do the same. Keep on believing God and serving God's people.